All right. Well, good morning again. Glad to have you here with us today. If it's your first time with us today, thank you for being with us. If I have not already met you, I'm Pastor Ryan. Glad to have you with us. Spend time in service here today. And in a minute, I'm gonna need some volunteers. Not yet, but in a minute I will. And one of the things that I miss, I used to be a children's pastor, one of the things that I miss about working with kids is those moments when you would need a volunteer. You'd just say, I'm going to need a couple of helpers, or I'm going to need a couple of volunteers, and you know what the kids would do, right? Oh, exactly that. They'd stick their hand up as high as they could, pick me. Some of them couldn't even stay seated. They're jumping to their feet. They're just wanting to be picked. Y'all remember that? You remember when you had that kind of energy? Yeah. Now it's not quite that way, right? I just mentioned, just in passing, that I'm going to need some volunteers. You're like, oh, goodness, what's he going to do this time? And nobody's going to volunteer. Nobody. I know it. And if you don't volunteer, I'll pick you anyway. So, but I love the energy that kids bring. Pick me. And God at certain times picks people to make a difference. And we also know that He's no respecter of persons, so He can pick any of us. And I want to be a person that makes a difference. I want to be able to look back on my life and see the way God used me, the change that He brought to people around me, because He picked me. And I think that there are others of us here today that want God to pick them to make a difference. And if that's you also, then pay attention over the course of this series, because this is for you. This is what this series is about. But for those that aren't interested in making a difference in the world around them, then that's fine. Feel free to tune out, because this isn't for you. But for those that are, listen up. We live in a world today that's a pretty ugly place. Do y'all agree with that? It's kind of broken out there. They need hope. They need peace. They need all kinds of things. And it's very similar in nature today to what happened at a time in the Bible in the book of Judges. The world looks a lot similar today to that world. And that book, the book of Judges, is actually about the few people that made a great difference in a very dark time. And over the course of this series, we're going to look at some of the judges, not all of them. We're not going to look at all of them. We're going to look at certain stories. And we're going to try to learn what set these few people apart. What was it in them that God saw that made Him decide to pick them? Because if we can learn that and we can begin to emulate that in our lives, then God can use us to make a difference. So last week we kicked it off, and last week we talked about the first judge. Who can tell me his name? Good job, Othniel. He was the first judge. We looked at his story, one that was willing to believe God no matter the obstacles, one that was willing to take on the tough challenge, one that kind of followed in the footsteps of his uncle Caleb that would say, give me this mountain. That was last week. And today we're going to look at the second judge. If I ask you off the bat who the second judge was, most of us probably couldn't name who the second judge was, but we probably know this guy. Matter of fact, if I started to share some details of who the second judge was, his story, you'd be, oh yeah, I remember that guy. The second judge is Ehud. Ehud. And some of you are still like, what? Who? As soon as I read the story or tell you the story, you'll be like, I remember that story. That's a crazy story. So we're going to look at it. We're not going to read all of it because it is long. I'm going to read parts of his story, and I'll tell you the rest. But it's also found in chapter 3 of Judges, along with Othniel. Matter of fact, we're going to pick up right where we left off last week. So let's take a look at it. We're going to start in verse 12. It says this, once again, the Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight, and the Lord gave King Eglon of Moab control over Israel because of their evil. And we see this regularly in the book of Judges, this persistent pattern of falling away from God. It just reflects the broken world that they lived in that day, and here they do it again. They fall away from God, they do evil again, and they come under oppression yet again. Verse 14 says, and the Israelites served Eglon of Moab for 18 years. But when the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help, the Lord again raised up a rescuer to save them. His name was Ehud, son of Gera, a left-handed man of the tribe of Benjamin. Now I'm going to pause to just kind of reading the scripture. I'm going to tell you the story here. So you know this. Some of you already know this. Some of you, you'll remember it as soon as I say it. So Ehud is raised up. They've been under oppression for now 18 years, and he gets a meeting with King Eglon. He goes to pay his tribute to the king, but before he's done with that meeting, he whispers into the king's ear, I got a secret message for you. And so they draw away just the two of them. And Ehud has smuggled in a sword. He's got a short sword. It says it's about a cubit long. It's about the length of your forearm. So a long dagger, short sword. He straps it to his right thigh. And they don't check him there because most people are right-handed and they wear their weapons on the left hand or the left side. But because he's left-handed, he straps it to his right thigh and they don't find his sword. And so he sneaks off with the king for this secret message. And while he's pretending that he's got this message, he reaches down, he draws out that sword and he stabs the king right in the stomach. Now the interesting thing about this is the king is so overweight that when he stabs the king in the stomach, it says the fat of his belly swallowed up the sword. And Ehud left it there, and you couldn't even see it. So it starts off as a hidden sword, and it ends up as a hidden sword. But it just hid in a different place. And then he locks the door, retreats away from the capital, and then he rallies the people. Is that familiar to you now that you've heard the story of the fat, or the sword swallowing fat? Yeah, that's the story. And so he rallies the Israelites. In verse 27, it picks up, says, Ehud sounded a call to arms. Then he led a band of Israelites down from the hills. Follow me, he said, for the Lord has given you victory over Moab, your enemy. So they followed him, and the Israelites took control of the shallow crossings of the Jordan River across from Moab, preventing anyone from crossing. They attacked the Moabites and killed 10,000 of their strongest and most able-bodied warriors. Not one of them escaped. So Moab was conquered by Israel that day, and there was peace in the land for 80 years. It's an odd story, and we remember him just for that one gruesome picture we have in our mind, that scene where he stabs the king in the stomach. It's a strange story, but you probably remembered it when I got to that point, but that's not the question. That's not the focus of the story. That gruesome little detail is not the focus of the story. Our focus for the course of this series is why? Why Ehud? Why did God choose Ehud? God chose people for a reason. It wasn't random. It wasn't a coin flip like what we talked about last week. God saw something in this individual. God saw something in Ehud, said, I can use him. And so he raised him up to be a judge. It's not random. It's not chance. It is a reason. What is that reason? If we can figure out why God raised up him, then maybe we can learn something that will enable God to raise us up to make a difference in the world around us. Now, last week we read the story of Othniel, and the part that we read in Judges was very short, but that's okay because we had backstory. We had other places in Scripture we could turn to find out more about this individual. We could get some background on him, his family, stuff like that, by looking out where his story is contained. Why did God choose Ehud? It's a tough question to answer because from what we looked at, what we talked about, what we read, there's not much to go on. There's not much there, but there is enough. There is enough, and we're going to look at that. We're going to figure that out. But before we get there, I want to give away a gift card. I have a gift card, but I'm not just going to give it to whoever. I need volunteers. And there it is. There it is right there. That's exactly what we're talking about right there. When I say we need volunteers, and kids, it's like me. And when we get to the adults, they're like, oh, don't pick me. Please don't pick me. I'm going to need some volunteers. Now, I will give you a little insight into this. This is a skilled challenge. It's not just a random challenge. It is a skilled challenge. If you have a background in baseball, you probably do well. It's a pitching challenge. So now, do we have some volunteers? Isis wants to go. Isis, come on up here. Let's see, pitching. Can you pitch? No? Do you want to give it a shot, Jason? Get on up here. I need like one solid ball player though, like a solid diehard. I know we got some ball players here. Caden's sitting right back over there. Derek's sitting right there. Jacob is right there. Jacob, was that a hand raise? Oh, Caden's coming up too? Okay, all right. All right, y'all come on up stage. It's real simple, real simple. I got a target here. It's a goofy little target. Here it is. Okay, we just three. Okay, Jake decided not to. It's just a pitching challenge. So all we got to do, I've got these balls. All I want you to do is I want you to try to throw the ball into the catcher's net right there. And one of you might need to hold this up. I don't want to like stand up perfectly straight. So I'll give you a couple warm-up shots. Okay, let's get a target here. I'll hold it for now. Let's do this. We'll make this tissue box. How's this sound? This tissue box right here? I'll pick it up. I saw it fall. I'll pick it up. You got to throw from behind this. And I'm going to give you 2 warm-up shots apiece. So y'all might have to help me shag some loose balls here. You know, bring that ball back for a free snow cone. That's what they used to say in my little league. Oh, this is dangerous. I feel like I'm in the wrong place for this. Should I move? What? Yeah, Pastor Chris, come on up here. You're going to help gather these up. All right, I'm just going to give you 2 shots. These are practice. These don't count. Afterwards, what we're going to do is if you hit the target, you get 1 point. If you make it in the net, you get 5 points. If you hit Pastor Dominic, minus 2 points. Okay. All right. But 2 warm-up shots. Go ahead and take your 2 warm-up shots, okay? No points right now. This is just practice. This is warm-up, okay? All right, Chris got that one. Give her another one. She's got to practice this. You got to practice this. Were you a softball player or a baseball player? It's not the weight. Because we don't want to hit Pastor Dominic. We don't want to hit Pastor Dominic with a hard one. Here we go, Chris. Tell him right back over here. These are just little bouncy baseball things. All right, who's up next? Who's going to take, here you go, Caden. Caden, get those. There you go. All right, you're up. Take a couple shots and just practice. Oh, you hit the target. Good job. Give him one more. All right. All right, good. And, oh, that was close, man. That was close. Is it too far away for you guys? Or? All right. Here he goes. Jason. Oh, that would be nothing. That would be 0 if it was for real. That would also be 0. It seemed like you're drifting to the right there. All right, Caden, last 2 here. All right, let's bring them back over here. Bring them back. You don't get a free snow cone, but. Okay. Take your practice shots. Take your practice shots. Wow, that was nothing. You sure you play baseball? Okay. Is it because they're so lightweight? Is that what it is? Oh, yeah. Blame that. All right, here we go. All right, we ready? How many do y'all want to do? I got 4. Do y'all want to take 4 each? 4 each? Is that good? Okay, you got 4 shots. 1 point if you hit the target, 3 points if you make it in the net, minus 2 if you hit Pastor Dominic. Okay? All right. You ready? Okay, before you go, I want you to switch and I want you to use your left hand. Left-handed, okay. All 4, no, really, all 4 of them left-handed, go. For real, go. I'm not making it. All 4 of them, that was just one. Come on, keep going, all 4 of them. There's a gift card on the line here. There's a gift card on the line. Here we go. Okay, here you go. It's the blue thing right there. That's what you're aiming for. Okay, 2 more. Here we go.
I think I should do my right on the other 2.
No, left-handed. And by the way, just to remind you, right now your score is 0. Okay, all right, you're up. Nope, last one. All right, last one. Here we go. Oh, so close. Right now, all you have to do is just hit the target to get the lead, okay? Who's up? You know what we're doing, man. It's left-handed, right? Left-handed. You got this, right? Piece of cake. All right, here he goes. Left-handed. Let's see what you got, Mr. Lefty. Oh, that's minus 2. Hey, you're winning right now, Isis. That doesn't count. Hit the ground first. Nope, doesn't count. Hit the ground first. You're a baseball player. Come on, you got this. Oh, -4. Wow, that's the worst I've ever seen. That's the worst. Oh, all right. Jacob is eliminated. Jacob, go sit down. There's no way you can win now. You're at -4. Okay, all right. All right, we ready? We ready? All right, Jason, you got this, right?
We'll see.
There you go. All right. Are you a lefty? No. All right, let's see what you got with your left hand. Oh, that's a point. It's an awkward looking throw, but you're winning right now.
It feels awkward.
Well, your position, you got the wrong foot forward. You got to, yeah, there you go. 1 point for Jason. Isis, you can go sit down. Oh wait, what? Did he hit you? It hit the ground first. Don't matter. Hit the ground first. Don't matter. It's got to hit him in the air. All right, Isis, you can sit down. You can't win now. He's ahead of you. All right, here he goes. Come on, Caden, you're a ball player. Oh, loosen up. He's got to loosen up. Oh, so close. Just hit it, man, and we go into a playoff. Oh, that's the worst. Everybody give all these people a hand. Congratulations, Jason. You're 1 point with your left-handed throw. Beat everybody else. Good job, good job. So now we got Ehud. We got left-handed Ehud, and this is the thing that sets him apart. This is what enables him to make a difference. Let me read it to you just one more time just to make sure. It says, the Lord raised up Sarah, and here's the detail that it adds for us because it's significant. A left-handed man. Ehud was left-handed. That's why he was able to be chosen in this time. If I'd picked 4 people to come up here and play that game and one of them had been left-handed, they would have won. They probably would have won that. How many lefties we got in the room? Raise your hand up real high if we got some lefties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Statistically, 1 out of 10 people are left-handed. Your name is Ben. You're not from the tribe of Benjamin. Is your name Benjamin or is it Ben? Benjamin? Do you know Benjamin means son of my right hand? Yeah, son of my right hand became left-handed. What's wrong with that? I don't know what happened there. Left-handed, only 10% of people are left-handed. It's a bit of a mystery why people are left-handed. We know it's influenced by genetics, but not determined by genetics. You can be trained to be right-handed at a young age, even though you might normally have gone left-handed. I was probably supposed to be a left-handed person. I've always been comfortable doing certain things with my left hand that other people are not comfortable with. Things you're not taught, things you just do naturally. My son Andrew, he's one of our lefties here. He is there's 10% chance of him being left-handed, but he's also natural redhead with blue eyes. There is a 0.01335% chance of that person being created right there, but yet there he sits, left-handed. Now, if it's just a matter of being left-handed, then only 7 of you can be. Obviously, that's not it. Obviously, that's not it. It's not the best translation of the phrase that we find in Scripture, although every major version of the English Bible renders it left-handed. Here is a literal translation. This is what the literal translation says. And the sons of Israel cry to Yahweh, and Yahweh raises a Savior to them, Ehud, son of Gera, a Benjamite, a man with his right hand bound. Some scholars think the best translation should be ambidextrous. Some even say that, well, something happened to him at a young age. His right arm was maimed or lost in some way, and so he couldn't use his right, so he had to use his left. But some say different, and I agree with these for good reasons. Ehud trained himself to use his weak hand by restricting his strong hand. It's possible that it was a military practice in the tribe of Benjamin. You see these four that were up here throwing the ball left-handed. You saw how they did. It was poor. It was very poor. Who got -4 points? Who was that? Yeah. If Dominic was the target, you would have won, but he was not. So, because we don't use our non-dominant hands. We just don't. Why would we? If I can use my strong hand, why would I use my weak? If I can throw right-handed, why would I bother worrying about being able to throw left-handed? What's the point of that? Ehud trained himself to use his weak hand by restricting his strong hand, and he's not alone in this. So it was likely a military training strategy of the tribe of Benjamin. Here's a different verse in Judges a little bit later down. Were left-handed. Again, that's another translation of a phrase that means restricted right hand. 700 were restricted right hand. And each of them could sling a rock and hit a target within a hair's breadth without missing. So Benjamin is doing something. They're training people. They're raising up people that go through particular training with their weak hand so that they could be fully ambidextrous. They could use either hand to carry a sword, to sling a stone, to wield a bow and arrow. They trained themselves to do this, and they trained themselves by binding up their dominant hand. I don't know what that looked like. Maybe a sling, maybe they had to put their arm in a sling and so they couldn't use it. Maybe it was like some sort of like one-arm straitjacket that strapped it down, and they could not use that hand. They couldn't, it wasn't a choice. It wasn't just like, I should use this. They didn't even have the choice to use their dominant hand. They bound it up in such a way that the only hand they had available to use was their weak hand. And they did that. And I think this is what we have to look at. This is what we've got to learn if we want to make a difference, because Ehud trained his weakness. And we got to figure out what that means. What does that mean? Well, so for the sake of discussion today, I'm going to kind of break it. First type is what you have that you wish you didn't, or a moral failing, unrestrained lust, greed, anger issues, carelessness with your words. You talk before you think. You speak before you these things as sins. We look at them that way. That's not exact. Just consider all the people in history, both in religious organizations and in secular, who have disqualified themselves from serving because of some sort of gross moral failure. And so this type of weakness definitely plays an impact. But you can't train that weakness. You can practice self-discipline to try to get better at minimizing that thing that you. Instead, we want to look at the second type of weakness, what you don't have that you wish you did have. It's not about what's there that shouldn't be there, but it's about something that is missing. Yourself in situations being apathetic, wanting to show pity or help. Maybe you find yourself in situations where you wish you were bold, but you're timid. You're fearful instead of courageous. You lack confidence. Maybe it's, I wish I was smarter. I wish I had those answers, but I don't. Lack of passion. This is the realm of wishing. If you could change one thing about yourself, not physically, but character-wise, what would you change? What would you add? What do you wish you had that you don't? I wish I was more intelligent. I wish I was more courageous. I wish I was more faithful. I wish I was more forgiving. Those have hair. Like I said, not physical character, okay. So there's good news here, though, for those that are willing to take it. Your wish can become your reality if you're willing to train yourself. Ehud Ehud was weak with his left hand, but he was willing to undergo some strict training to provide what he didn't have. He had poor use of his non-dominant hand, but he trained himself to be strong in an area of weakness. And you can train up your weakness. That's the story of Ehud, is one willing to train themselves day in, day out, as good with his left hand as he was with his right. And because he was willing to take the time to train his weakness, God chose him to bring deliverance to Israel, and he made a difference. So how do we do that? How do we train ourselves in our weakness? I've shared this story with around Jia Zhang. I'm holding the book that he wrote. He was 30 years old, and he was in the business world, but he had a lot of regret. He had never really chased his dreams, never really pursued his passions, and he just was dissatisfied with life. And he was talking to his wife one day, and he told her that. And so she said, well, I want you to take the next 6 months, and I want you to... And at the 4-month mark, he had a potential investor that wanted to invest. And Jia tried to convince him of the reason why he should invest. But then he got the reply, and it was just a pretty simple, pretty clear, no, not interested. He was rejected, and it crushed him. It crushed him. He went back to his wife, and he said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm just going to go back to working a regular job. I gave you 6 months. Now get back out there and try for 2 more months. But he recognized something about himself. He recognized that he was so risk-averse, so scared of rejection that it was stopping him. And so he began to research, how do I deal with rejection? How do I face rejection? He came across an idea called rejection therapy, and he decided to blog about it. So he set a goal for himself, 100 days of rejection. He made a list of 100 things that he knew nobody would say yes to. Nobody would say yes to those things. He knew he was going to get turned down, but he forced himself every day to face rejection so he could become acclimated to what it felt like, and it stopped having a hold on him. And so he started this project. Day one was borrow $100 from a stranger. He went up to this big burly guy and sweating, scared, nervous, and asked, can I borrow $100? The guy just looked at him like, no. And he ran away. He ran away. It so traumatized him just to ask that one question. He ran away. The second day, he did a little bit better. He was still rejected, but of course he was going to be rejected. This list is a thing that must be rejected. And so he went to his favorite burger place. He got his meal. He ate it, and he decided, I'm going to go ask for a burger refill. Not a drink refill, a burger refill. So he went up to the counter, and he asked, he goes, can I get a burger refill? And they talked about it a little bit, but they pretty firmly told him, no, that's ridiculous. Nobody gets burger refills. And so he got rejected. He did this for 100 days, but the more he faced rejection, the more he put himself in position to face that, his fear, the less fear he had. And the less fear he had, the more people began to say yes to some of these weird things that he asked of them. They started saying yes. Day 3, he went to Krispy Kreme and asked them to make him a custom woven donut arrangement, thinking they were going to say no. And they started talking to him about it. They started drawing it down on a piece of paper, and then they went and made it for him. He went to a mattress firm one day and walked into the store and asked if he could just take a nap on one of their beds. And they let him sleep in the store on one of their display beds. He went to a professor and he said, hey, I've never been a teacher. I don't have any training in teaching, but I would love to teach a college class, the UT Austin. First professor said no. He asked another professor. Second professor said no. He asked a third professor, and third professor said, okay. And he was given the opportunity to be a guest lecturer for one of these professors. He just asked for these things. He asked to get behind the wheel of a police car. He just started asking these ridiculous things, and people just started saying yes because he started approaching these things with no more fear. See, he recognized, he identified his weakness. He was afraid of rejection, and he had a wish. He had a wish. I wish I was more confident. I wish I was more bold. I wish I wasn't so fearful. And so he trained his weakness by intentionally putting himself in situations where he would be forced to confront his fear and be bold. And Ehud did something similar. He did something similar. He knew he was weak with his left hand. He was not left-handed, he was right-handed. But he wanted to be strong with his left hand, and so he trained himself. He forced himself. He bound up his right hand. And so he could only use his left to eat, to write, to brush his teeth, to train weapons. He could only use this hand because his right hand was not available to him. And I imagine day one was a disaster. He was probably more a danger to himself with a sword than anybody else trying to use his left hand. Day one was a disaster, but he got stronger each day until one day he was as strong with his weak hand as he was with his dominant hand. He trained his weakness. He trained his weakness. So why don't we change? If there's something you wish you had that you don't have, why don't you change? Why don't you do this? We don't because we're comfortable. Why do I need to worry about my left hand when I have a perfectly good right hand? Why do I need to worry about it? I'm comfortable as I am. And it's intimidating to face your weakness. That's why a lot of us, when we have just a simple little goofy opportunity to volunteer, to come be on stage on a Sunday morning for what we just did there, that's why so many of us are like, no, absolutely not. It's terrifying to us to get up in front of a group of people. That's why we don't raise our hand and say, pick me, pick me. It's why we're just praying to ourselves under our breath, please don't pick me, please don't pick me. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to get out of your comfort zone and face something that's intimidating to you, to face your weakness. Ehud was comfortable with his right hand and he was weak with his left. But for him, that was not good enough. It was not good enough to be a one-handed swordsman, a one-handed sling thrower. He wanted to be confident and able with both. And so he bound up his strength to train his weakness. He bound up his comfort to train his weakness. And that's what we got to do. We have to bind up our comfort, bind up your comfort to train your weakness. You may say, you know what, I'm not comfortable talking to people that I don't know. Bind that up. Bind up your discomfort and force yourself. Set a goal for yourself. Every day this week, I'm going to try to engage with somebody that I don't know and have a conversation with them. But I'm not comfortable. Bind that up. Bind that up and train your weakness. And force yourself to do it. Force yourself to get out there and do it. I'm scared of public speaking. Can anybody raise their hand and say, I'm scared of public speaking? I don't like getting... Hold it up real high, real high, real high. I need to see real high. Crystal, write their names down because they're going to be doing announcements for the next several months in church. You got to train that. You can say, I'm not comfortable getting in front of people and talking. Force yourself. Make it happen. Find ways of doing it. Train your weakness. I don't have enough compassion for people. Force yourself, train yourself, put yourself in situations to show compassion. Sign up for Foster Parents Night Out. Sign up for the next homeless ministry, which is the 20th of this month, by the way. Put yourself in a position where compassion will flow out of you. I can't pray out loud in front of other people. Now, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand on this, but I know some of you are very intimidated by this. You're in a group of people, and the pastor says, one of you pray. And it's the same thing. Oh, not me. Please, somebody else volunteer. Because you're just not comfortable with it. You got to train your weakness. You got to say, yes, me. I may not be comfortable with it. I may not be good at it. But I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again. The first time might be a disaster. I'm not going to lie. First time you may get all sweaty and whatever. You may stumble over your words. You'll get better. And one day what you looked at as a weakness has become a strength because you trained your weakness. Bind up your comfort to train your weakness. Feels a little self-helpy today, doesn't it? This whole topic, talking about it, kind of feels self-helpy. It may feel that way, but I want you to understand. We got this little nugget back here in Judges But this idea is deeply, deeply biblical. Putting yourself in difficult situations to grow. Let me show you. Let me show you. This is Paul. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, I am strong. Train up your weakness until it becomes a strength. James says it this way: consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Put yourself in difficult situations and you will grow. Peter, so be truly glad. There is wonderful joy ahead, even though you must endure many trials for a little while. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. Put yourself in difficult situations. Put yourself in your area of weakness to train up those weaknesses, and you will grow. Peter, James, Paul, they agree. Face your fears. Put yourself in the middle of hardships. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Put yourself in an area where you know that you are weak, and you will grow. It will change you. It will produce in you strength, maturity, and real faith. But you got to bind up your comfort to train your weakness. If you're more concerned about being comfortable than being effective, you'll never bring change. If you're more concerned about being comfortable than letting God use you, you'll never make a difference in the world around you. But for some of us, we want to make a difference. And there may be some things holding us back. Fear. I'm uncomfortable. I'm not good at these things. I can't get in front of other people. I can't pray out loud in front of other people. I don't know how to help other people. I'm not comfortable doing those things. And we let our discomfort steer the course of our lives. But some people will say, you know what? I recognize my weakness. I will bind up my comfort, and I will train my weakness. And those are the ones that are going to change the lives of people that they meet. I'm a natural introvert. Y'all know that. Some of y'all know that. You recognize, you see the things in me. I was terrified of public speaking. You could not twist my arm. My wife's the same way. Both of us. Both of us. That one day we're going to do stuff like this up in front of others, and we're going to be comfortable and we're going to enjoy it. I'd have thought you was crazy. But little by little we forced ourselves and we trained our weakness. We trained ourselves until it's not a weakness anymore. Bind up your comfort to train your weakness. It's not going to happen all in one day, but over time, if you will force yourself to confront your weakness, you will grow strong. And when the time comes and God is looking for someone to raise up, God is looking for someone to make a difference, He might just pick you. He might just pick you. You may be going through your life and you come across somebody that's broken, that's hurting, that's in need, and then the Holy Spirit may speak to you right then in that moment. Go talk to them. I'm not comfortable talking to strangers. Your discomfort will derail that. You trained up that discomfort. It's a strength now. You can do that. Go talk to that person. Show compassion on that person. I'm not good at showing compassion. Nope. You trained that weakness up. You put yourselves in places to show compassion, and now that what was a weakness is now a strength, and you can show compassion. Go talk to that person. Show them compassion and pray for that person. I'm scared of praying in front of people. Nope. You took it to go talk to that individual. And God is looking for someone that He can raise up to do that. He sees you. Someone that bound up their comfort to train their weakness. You faced it day in and day out until you got good at the things that used to terrify you. You got good at things that used to be missing from your life. At once upon a time, you might have said, I wish I was more courageous. I wish I was more bold. I wish I was more compassionate, whatever it may be. And you know what? You said, I see these things as weaknesses, and I'm going to train them. And then the day is going to come where you are bold. You are compassionate. You are ready to step into whatever God asks. And He's looking for somebody to raise up. And He sees you fully trained and ready. And He will raise you up. He will raise you up. Now, I'm going to close today. I'm going to wrap it up. But there's one more detail that stood out to me from this story. And it's significant because it's at the very tail end of this story, and we just read the story of Othniel last week, and at the very tail end of that story, there's a different detail. It's similar but different. Let me read them to you back to back. And verse 11. So there was peace in the land for 40 years. Say 40. The end of the story of Ehud. And there was peace in the land for 80 years. Say 80. Biblically, the Bible considers 40 to be a generation. A whole generation. Othniel did great. He led in such a way that he brought peace to the Israelites for a generation. He believed God. He wasn't afraid of a challenge. He stepped into it. Ehud, the one who was willing to bind up his comfort to train his weakness, brought peace for 2 generations. That's powerful. That's powerful. Last week we said, give me this mountain. And that was very mountain. That's great. This week, bind up your comfort and train your weakness. You're like, I'm just not getting it today, Pastor. I'm not feeling it, That sounds uncomfortable. That sounds unpleasant. And you're going to put me in some awkward situations. Yeah. Change the course of not just your life, but 2 generations after you, your kids, your grandkids. You do something to show that you are willing to be strong in an area that's powerful. But if we're not willing to be uncomfortable, we will never be raised up. Bind up your comfort and train your weakness. You set an example that brings life to generations when you face your fears. When you face your fears. Maybe you don't know. You might even say, what, Pastor, I got more than one. I got several. But it may be hard to say, what am I weak in? If you can't figure it out that way, maybe ask yourself this way. Say, what do I wish about myself? What do I wish that I was? What do I wish that I could do? Who do I wish? Bind up your comfort so that you can train. You can become who you want to be. It's not going to be easy, but it is possible. Ehud is I don't know how long it took him to bind up his right arm, until he became strong with his left. I don't know how long it took. I don't know how long it's going to take for you, but I know this. If you start today, you'll get there eventually, one day. Opportunity to make a difference, make a change in someone around you, it will come and it will pass you right by because you weren't ready. You weren't ready. You were too busy being comfortable to train up your weakness.